The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Jackson County Fire District 3, Oregon, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 37200. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation. Let's start at the very top section of the cab roof, first starting with the identification clearance lights. There are 5 located across here, in addition with a forward-facing opticom. As we move up onto the roof area itself, you'll find your emergency warning light bar, and located at the brow of the front of the vehicle, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight. Let's move down from this location to the front hood area, where you'll find a grab handle for tilting the hood area. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. On the grille, 2 forward-facing emergency warning lights. As we move just into the front bumper cutout area, you'll find 2 open-ended tow hooks, electronic siren and PA speaker mounts on both the passenger and driver's side, headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights, turn indicator, and emergency warning light. Air inlet. Just to the lower section of the fender, you'll find your marker turn indicator light, and at the rear portion, you'll find the release mechanism for gaining access into the hood, where you utilize the pull section in the center of the hood area. Moving now to the mirror section, where you'll find your flat and convex mirror on the A-pillar on the passenger and driver side. Easily accessible with a gloved hand. This is your door lock and latch keyed, in addition with a grab handle for gaining entry and exit to the vehicle. As we move to the step well, you'll find 2 items here. First, the silver cap, which is your ultra low sulfur diesel, and also the blue cap, which is your DEF fill location. As we move to the door panel, you'll find affixed door panel safety and warning placard information, door release and lock, and also mirror control for passenger and driver side. As we move inside to the vehicle, you'll find this yellow placard. We'll go over that in just a moment. Comfort controls for your air ride seat. In addition, when plugged into Shoreline power, the indicator below the seat will provide information regarding battery status. Let's move to the yellow placard, where you'll find the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, all of the fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and also fluid type. Moving now to the floor area, where you'll find your master battery switch. It's a quarter turn for on and off. At the base of the seat is where you'll find your auto charge status center. Once again, this is active when plugged into Shoreline power. Comfort controls for air ride seat and also front to back, which is your orange release lever. As we move to the dash, you'll find the yellow placard indicating height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating. Also speed control, set excel, cruise, headlights, and increase or decrease. This is a keyed ignition located on the left knee of the operator. As we move to the right, you'll find the air filter minder for your engine air filter. Moving to the dash area, you'll find the transmission, water temp, and oil pressure on the left-hand side of the cluster. On the right, you'll find your fuel, DEF level, front air, rear air on the right side of the cluster. In the center, tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic tally light information will display above the speedometer. Moving to the right, you'll find your diff lock, engine brake, and traction control switch, Allison transmission pad with a push button digital readout. Moving further to the right, you'll find your pump shift with an indicator tally light for pump engaged and OK to pump indicators. Yellow diamond indicating your parking brake, pull to apply and push to release. You'll also find electric window controls and door lock and mirror heat. and also your def control. Now at the lower section, you're going to find the high idle, floodlights, and also additional tally light information regarding your engine. Moving just to the right, a close-up of the PTO pump shift. Further to the right to the additional switches. Climate control just above this location. As we move to the seat area, you'll also find your PA and electronic siren speaker module. To the rear of the seat area, you'll find a fuse box. Overhead, you'll find your backup monitor, air horn pull lanyard, additional switch panel above for emergency warning lights, in addition with your dump valve. When any of these switches have been activated, the individual switch will illuminate within the switch itself whether it has been activated. You do have additional tally lights for your dump valves. Do not move your apparatus if this light is on, indicating you have a door or compartment open. Moving now to the pump panel, we'll start at the upper portion with the two crosslays, crosslay 1 and crosslay 2. As we move just to the right of this location on the pump panel, you'll find your master intake gauge and master discharge gauge. In between the two of those, test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. These are currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. Let's move down onto the pump panel where we have clustered items together. We'll start on the left side of the upper pump panel and move through the areas. These are going to be the crosslays, real discharge, and deluge discharge, identifying the red indicator for foam discharge. We have your 2.5-inch discharges clustered together. In control pressure throttle governor at the very top section. Moving to your switch panel for scene lights and also an indicator for OK to pump. Moving down to you below the pressure throttle governor, you'll find an audible alarm speaker. The outer edge of that bezel does rotate for brightening and dampening the sound. Husky 3 foam system with an operating instructions for its operation on the placard itself. Foam level indicator for foam tank A, and also a water tank level indicator for your water tank. Fire pump primer, push to prime, air prime. For best practices, at least 1,000 RPMs for priming. As we move down, a warning here regarding only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment only after proper training. Also, you have a pressure hazard warning. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Your foam system instructions and also specifications placard, tank fill recirculating line, and tank to pump. Watrous placard indicating a capacity of 1,000 GPM. Main pump inlet, the American flag Eagle Pierce logo. As we move to the right, a warning placard here regarding foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. Also your draft foam tank lever. Minimum operation maintenance schedule for test pressures at 150, 200, and 250 psi. Auxiliary inlet, 2.5-inch locally controlled ball valve, female inlet. All of our crosslays and also additional drains for discharges. Your main fire pump drain. Access doors down to the right, lift and turn latch gains you access behind the pump panel for inspection. Below the running board, you'll find additional labeled drains for your discharges. Moving to the body section, you'll find an LED water tank level indicator, also a side-facing scene light in the upper corner. Let's take a quick look here at all of your compartments on the driver's side. Just in front of the rear axle is where you'll find your wheel chock storage location for 2 wheel chocks, adjustable shelving, ventilation, and LED lighting inside the compartments. Moving now to the forward compartment, a pull-out tray. The release mechanism is located on the right side. Folding wheel chock storage location. This is directly in front of the axle. marker turn indicator light just in front of the rear axle. SCBA bottle storage, this is directly in front of the axle. This is for one SCBA bottle. Moving down to the rear axle, you'll find Michelin tires, Alcoa wheel. Just above this location, an emergency warning light. This is part of your lower emergency warning light zone. To the rear of the axle, SCBA bottle storage for a single bottle. Moving to the rear portion is where you'll find your side dump on the driver's side. Mud flaps on the very rear portion of the axle. Full view here of all the compartments open. We'll take a look at the rear portion starting at the uppermost portion of the truck on the driver's side with an emergency warning light. A ladder for gaining access. As we move to the right side, ground ladder storage. Moving now to the center portion where you'll find some warning placards indicating fall hazard, never ride on the vehicle while it is in motion. And then also fall hazard when climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. And an additional warning here regarding entanglement hazard. Because of the lines coming from aloft, there is the possibility of an entanglement. We do have a few cupped switches located here for your dump valve. Auto eject on the shoreline inlet, 20 amp. Also an air inlet. Emergency warning light, brake turn and reverse light. Moving to the lower portion, D-handle gains you access into the pan door area. Just above this location is where you'll find the rear dump. We do have additional fold down steps for gaining access to the ladders, and then also a few cupped switches here for the dump valve. Additional storage located here behind the pan door for drafting tubes. Just a quick view of the rear portion from the passenger side. As we move up to the very top, you have an additional trough for storage for drafting tube. Moving downward from this location is where you'll find your porta-tank storage location. At the rear axle area is where you'll find the side dump on the passenger side. In addition to SCBA bottle storage location just above the mud flap area at the rear axle portion for a single SCBA bottle. Once again, back to the rear axle where you'll find Michelin tires and Alcoa wheel. Moving forward of the rear axle, turn indicator marker light, in addition with a single SCBA bottle storage location with retaining strap. Moving to the forward compartment, you'll find a adjustable shelf, LED lighting, and ventilation. Moving up to the top, same configuration, water tank level indicator, side facing scene light. General view here of the porta tank. As we move now to the pump panel area on the passenger side, you'll find the two cross lays in the upper portion next to the cab. Moving now to the pump panel area. Let's take a quick look at the top section where the cross lay is located. Pan door access, in addition with your powered equipment rack, there are instructions for its operation for raise and lower, and also danger placard because of its movement. A 2.5-inch discharge. Large diameter pump inlet is the Pierce logo American flag eagle, and then also a large diameter discharge. As we move to the very bottom section, you'll find an additional pan door for gaining access for visual inspection behind the pump panel. And at the bottom, all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move to the rear portion of the cab, you'll find your exhaust, top mount. Moving now to the cab section where you have an additional downward-facing mirror. To the A-pillar where you'll find your flat and convex mirror. Moving back to the door lock and latch combination and keyed lock. Step where you'll find your batteries. release mechanism for your hood. There's one on the passenger and also on the driver's side. At the top of the fender, you'll find your turn indicator marker light. Forward of that location, you'll find the emergency warning light front zone. Moving back to the front axle, where you'll find Michelin tires, Alcoa wheel, and a visual sight gauge indicator. This will conclude our additional images. Congratulations, Jackson County Fire District 3, Oregon, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 37200. If you have any questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.